specialize in music most people hate. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out our Facebook page, Instagram, and our website. Let us share the noise with you.
Yo, this is John from Noise Dosage Media, and this episode is brought to you by Begrudgingly Benny. Interested in putting something horrific and grotesque on your next piece of merch? Benny is tucked away in the fiery depths of COVID quarantine, blasting the filthiest of old school death metal and drawing hideous creatures that he is waiting for you to adopt. Go over to Instagram and follow @BegrudginglyBenny and contact him if you would like some really weird original art for your band or label. Super professional, highly recommended. What do you find the most stressful when playing shows on the road?
I mean, for me, everything's stressful because I do a lot. I take on too much work just because, I don't know. I'm very, I have anxiety when other people drive, so I drive like 99% of the time. And,
Yeah.
And then I'm also, up until recently, I also tour managed everything for every tour that we were on. Now we have a guy that comes with us that does that. So that's taken a lot of stress off me, actually. But, yeah, the
Right.
setting up the drums and playing is probably the easiest part.
Exactly. But yeah, the thing is, I was watching one of those Bus Invaders, one of those videos, and I remember you saying like you drove the whole way. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah,
Like-
I have to, like, next tour, I don't know. It's I've been doing it for so long, because even when I was in another band called King Conquer, and
Right.
you know, I toured with that band for 6 years or so, and yeah, even back then. So I've been touring since like 2006, and ever since I started touring, I always drove.
So are you fueled by coffee or Red Bull or just straight energy?
I mean, I'm the type of person that if I get tired, I'm going to stop and sleep, but I'm also an early riser.
Okay.
So I mean, our schedule normally looks like we get done playing, we pack up. We're a very efficient band. Like, everyone in our band helps a lot, and we get packed up and loaded and organized and everything really quickly. So we normally try and get everything done, get out, go to a Planet Fitness, take showers, and then we find like a truck stop, like a Love's or a Pilot or something like that. And not Pilot, fuck Pilot, Flying J. Pilot's the worst. They kick us out all the time.
Get out of here, man. You
Dude,
can't park here.
Oh, it's
How
the
about
worst.
Walmart?
Walmart does not let you stay there anymore. It
That's what I
sucks.
thought. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, if there's a rest area that seems all right, like, we'll stay there. But normally we try and look for Love's Travel Stop. They're the best. And
right on.
but yeah, so we get done playing, we go shower at Planet Fitness, find a spot to crash, and then we normally go to sleep like as quick as possible, and then I wake up like around 6 a.m., start driving.
Fuck yeah. Most efficient. So what are some like, health tips on the road
Whew.
that you always
That's
Yeah.
something that I
long
need
list.
to work on because yeah, I don't know. Normally we eat very unhealthy. It's really bad, actually.
Oh shit.
Like, I don't know. I'd say in the mornings I'm a big fruit person, so I'll get like a banana and an orange and stuff like in the mornings. But
Right.
by the time we're done playing, we're all like so hungry, or like we get done loading in, we get to the show, we load in, and like then we have like 3 hours before doors open, you know what I mean? So we just like
Right.
walk around town, and all of us love food, so we're the type of band that, like, we'll Google like
Munch out.
what's the best thing in this city, and like we'll go there and get food.
Damn.
But
Did you stop to get a garbage plate when you were in Rochester?
not this last time, but we usually do, yeah. And
Which
it's
place?
I forget the name. Normally Kyle Medina, our singer, he'll find the spot and he'll like Uber Eats it, and like he'll just like ask us all like what we want. So we'll all just like write down what we want, and then he'll Uber Eats it, and then yeah, we all eat somewhere.
The one thing I find about bands, with Uber Eats, it's very convenient because when you're on the road nowadays, like I see posts every fucking month when shows are happening, obviously.
Yeah.
When vans are getting busted into and all that stuff. I think it's
See,
because like people are going to get food.
I mean, not only that, I mean, a lot of bands are very irresponsible.
Exactly.
I mean, they and it's not like they're being irresponsible on purpose. You know what I mean? Like it just slips their mind sometimes. But like, we do not sleep anywhere but our van. We will not and it sucks sometimes because I feel like some people like kind of like take it the wrong way because a lot of people will offer us a place to stay. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you guys can stay at our house after the show, but we are not. We will not. We refuse to sleep anywhere but our van while we're on the road because there's just
so much to lose, man.
Yeah,
it's everything.
So much gear. I mean, the merch is really worth more than the gear. You know what I mean? Because like more than half of our trailer is merch, and so it's just. And that stuff's not even paid off. You know what I mean? Like you get merch fronted to you. If that gets stolen, then you just have to pay a bunch of money out of your pocket, you know?
Right. It's like a funny analogy is like going to Best Buy. I had this happen to me. You pay a warranty on something, it breaks, and then it fucking runs out.
Yep. Always.
I love it. Always. It actually happened just recently. I had a set of Bose headphones. I broke them, and then 2 days later, the
warranty went out.
Yeah, warranty went out.
That's the worst.
I was like, son of a bitch, man. You got me for like $250 or something crazy.
Yeah.
So, what was your initial reaction when, your fans dropped the, fan-made video Nail in the Coffin?
See, that was something that, like, right when we got into quarantine, we were originally supposed to be filming a music video for that. And then we're in quarantine for like a week. And then I'm like, damn, this is going to be a long time. You know what I mean? And we're in quarantine for 2 weeks. And then we're like, all right, we're not going to film a music video because everyone in our band, we don't all live in the same town. Our bass player lives in Pennsylvania. Kyle Medina lives in Melbourne, Florida. I live in Fort Myers, Florida, and that's like 3 hours apart. So we're all very spread out.
Damn,
and
Pennsylvania from Florida.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So every time we go on a tour, we fly our bass player down to Florida, and then we rehearse for like 3 days, and then we go.
Shit.
Yep.
How did you find him?
He was actually one of my good friends. He played bass in the band Float Face Down, and they're from Jersey. And they toured with my old band King Conquer like in 2010 2011, and actually
that's how the connection happened, huh?
Yeah. Well, basically what happened was before the deluxe version of Death of Me, everyone in the band was different than it is right now. So in 2017, the band besides Kyle Medina was a completely different band. And then in 2017, a bunch of stuff happened with those members, and Kyle Medina almost just said, fuck it with the band. But I had recorded Death of Me. So they came to my studio and recorded that album with me. And I hadn't been touring for a couple of years. I was just doing the studio thing. And whenever they came in to record Death of Me, I was like, yo, if that band loses their drummer, that's the type of shit that I want to play. Because it's like, it's easy, but it's like, it's heavy, but it's not, it's like interesting heavy, and it's violent as hell live, you know? And that was like,
it's so fucking violent, man.
Yeah, it's and it's so much fun. It's just like the most fun music for me to play as an individual. It's like what I always wanted to play, you know?
Right.
And then in 2017, all this shit happened with the members, and I remember I was like kind of talking with Kyle, and they came, it was just him and one guitar player left, and they came and recorded the song Exterminate, and I wrote all the drums and recorded all the drums for that song. And then I was like, yo, like,
this guy ain't that bad.
I was like, I'll play drums. And Kyle Medina was a huge King Conquer fan. And he was like, are you fucking serious? And I was like, yeah, dude. And then he's like, sick. So we kind of like, you know, we're all so stupid. But so I don't know, that happened. And then so the singer of Float Face Down actually passed away in 2016, I believe. And in 2017 they did like a memorial show in New Jersey, and they flew Kyle to New Jersey to do vocals for the memorial show, and that's how he met Kyle Shope, our bass player. And Medina called me and he's like, "Yo, what do you think about Shope?" And I was like, "Oh, I love that dude." And he's like, "We should get him to play bass." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude." And so then it was Kyle Shope, Medina, me, and this kid Frankie that was playing guitar. And we did one tour like that, and then we get home from that tour, and then Frankie quits, and I'm like, "What?"
Son of a bitch.
You know? And so I was. It's so weird how everyone's name in the band is Kyle now, but so we get home from that tour, and I'm like, "Dude, we should hit up Kyle Carter," because I was previously in a band with Kyle Carter, and excuse me.
You're good.
I was previously in a band with him called Dealey Plaza for a little bit, and then Kyle Carter was also in a band called Beacons, which was like a deathcore band from Florida in like 2012-ish, and they were fucking awesome. And I knew he was a great guitar player, and he said yeah right away. And ever since then, it's like I've never been in a band that meshes better than all four of us mesh. It's so sick. We don't get in arguments. Everyone's always on the same page, and it's just like, yeah, it's so sick.
Yeah, that never fucking happens.
No, literally
that never fucking happens.
It's so easy. Touring is so easy with the group of guys that we have, and we have a dude that runs merch for us and tour manages us. So it's just 5 people in the van, and it's just, I don't know, everything just falls into place every day. It's so easy. So as little stress as tour could possibly be, you know, there's still very stressful, but it's way less stressful for us than I feel like it is for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. I think the best thing about your band is it's a 4-piece, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like just having that extra person just brings a whole new fucking, you know,
it's like being married to an extra person, you know?
Yeah.
Being in a band is
space.
Yeah. We have, you know, our van has 4 benches, so all of us get a bench to sleep in, and then the 2 front seats, we put like this box in between them both, and then we lay a board down so that our merch guy can sleep across. It basically like makes a 5th bench across the front benches.
Right on. Yeah. Another person, another freaking image of the band, another fucking, you know, amp,
liability,
cab, liability.
Yeah,
I could go on forever.
Yeah, more gear, you know, more luggage, more ideas that you don't want to deal with, you know.
Right. So it's on your studio page on Facebook, and it said that you haven't had a job that wasn't involved in music for 7 years. Correct?
Probably since probably more than that now. I'd say probably since 2012.
Okay.
So yeah, about 7, 8 years. Yeah.
So how does this make you feel? Like, how many people told you that it was impossible to make it in the music industry?
Every single person that I ever talked to in my entire life.
Thank you.
Especially with the type of music that I work with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I started playing in a band in 2002. I'm old. I just turned 32, so I feel like the really old guy in the scene now. But I started playing shows in 2002, and yeah, it took a long time and a lot of people saying that it would never happen, you know. And I didn't even really. I mean, I toured for so long, sleeping on my friends' couches in between tours. Like there was one year when King Conquer was touring. Out of a whole year, I was home for I think a total of 14 days out of 365. and that was rough. But like in between tours, I'd be like, "Yo, can I crash on your couch?" And I did that.
And I pay a year's rent.
Exactly. I did that for like 3 or 4 years, and like luckily I had really good friends that supported me, and like I love all those people so much. Because without people like that, there's no way I would have been able to make it happen.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
But like just doing, yeah, go ahead.
I've been told so many fucking times, like, I don't know, like it's just stupid shit. Like even like this podcast, talking to people like that, like I have people say to me, they're like, "Dude, do you pay to talk to these people?" I'm like, "No, like shut the fuck up, like
No,
stop doubting me." Like
all people have to. People are afraid to try. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah,
there's no hurt in trying literally anything ever, because what's the worst that's going to happen? Someone says no, and then if you don't try at all, you don't even know if someone would have said yeah.
right. So what's like the biggest highlight you've had being in the music industry and like having a studio?
I think studio. I mean, starting the studio, like that's really what changed my life. That's really what made it to where I could really be happy and make enough money to pay my bills, because in late 2012 is when I stopped touring with King Conquer, and I got a job playing drums here in my town. And I was playing drums for like this cover band, and we played like Linkin Park and Slipknot and Breaking Benjamin and
Right
stuff
on.
like that. And like it was fun, like it was cool. I got paid really well. I got paid like $700 a week cash, and
Damn.
just to play cover songs, and it was cool. And that was why I stopped touring, because I had never gotten an opportunity to make I'd never gotten an opportunity to make that much money before. So I took that job because it was playing drums, and
Yeah.
so because I was home all the time, we would play 5 nights a week, but we were playing in my town that I lived in. So I picked up recording, and I got really into it, and I just like, that's all I wanted to do. That's all I did. I would spend 12 hours a day on the computer just learning everything that I possibly could. And
right. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do myself, but
yeah,
I'm in an apartment, so I don't know how easy that'd fucking be.
It's totally doable.
You think?
Do MIDI drums. I mean,
Well, I mean, like I have a studio set up, but I'm talking like tracking drums, obviously. Like
yeah. See, I'm at the point now where, I mean, I track a lot of drums, but I do more mixing work than I do actually tracking. So that works out really well. And like, if you can build your name as a mixing engineer, then you don't have to track anybody ever,
Yeah, I feel like that'd be like way easier.
Yeah. It's definitely harder to get the work at first, though.
I feel like it's just like touring. Like you fucking set your drums up, and then you got to play a show. You know what I mean? Like you're. I feel like tracking. I mean, like I've been to a studio and shit, and I don't know. It's just very rushed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the recording industry has changed so much even since I started, and everything has to be fast paced now because everybody's budgets are so much smaller than they used to be. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are like, "Oh, I'll record your band for $100 a song," and it's like, dude, you're never gonna make a living doing that,
Right.
And I get it. I mean, I did that when I first started. Just it gets your name out there. It's really good to do for the first couple of years. Just offer people really good deals and try and get your name out there to put out a good product. But I would only give people that good of a deal if the band is a really good band. You know what I mean? Because if you do that with bands that aren't gonna get noticed, then you're just doing that. You're hurting yourself by putting out something that's not super sick, and you're not getting paid. You know what I mean?
You're getting fucked either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way. Right.
But yeah, so recording like changed my life for real. getting into
Okay.
that and being able to work with the bands that I did right away, like the first year I was recording full time. Like I worked with Infant Annihilator, Rings of Saturn, Traders, Bodysnatcher, and this was like before I was in Bodysnatcher. I worked with bands that people were like hyped on, you know what I mean? So it was like,
Right.
it was
They look
really
right at the
sick.
credits.
Yeah.
So what has that like taught you on like a personal level?
Well,
Like just in general?
what was that?
Like what has this taught you on a personal level? Like,
I mean, basically just if you really believe that you can do something and you have a very strong work ethic, it can happen. And a lot of people, they have a mindset of, hey, I have this idea, and then they overthink that idea for so long, and they think of all the things that could possibly go wrong with it. And if you tell yourself, oh, this can go wrong, that can go wrong, and this can go wrong, you're going to talk yourself out of even trying. So I feel like people need to have a mentality that's not limiting their own beliefs.
right. Hell yeah. That was kind of the question, the answer that I was going for. Right
Awesome.
on the fucking dot.
Good.
So 2 more things. Who would you want to record next at your studio?
There's
bucket list bands.
So bucket list bands, like I mean, I've had big bands, but I haven't had like a band that's like, I haven't had like that B tier record band. You know what I mean? I've had mediocre sized bands, but I mean, I would love to do a band like Knocked Loose or something like that. I would love to do a band like, let's see. I'm trying to think of what bands like really have my eye. I've actually, you know what? I have never listened to Vane, and that's crazy because like I'm a huge like old hardcore head, and that's a band that I just like. I don't know why I've never listened to them. I have no idea why.
Son of a bitch.
I know. But like, I don't know. Let's see.
Loose.
That's like
Harm's
on like
Way.
Yeah, that something like that would be really cool. I'm trying to think of like a good like Desolated. I would love to record Desolated because they're like that mix of hardcore and beatdown, and it's just like angry as hell.
Right. Now I was gonna ask you, how the fuck do you make your kick sound so goddamn beefy?
Well, I have a couple samples that I normally are like my go-tos that I will mix, and I don't know. I would say,
like, do you make those?
I have some kicks that I've recorded myself and made samples out of those. But normally, I mean, I can work with any kick. I've been really liking the new Get Good Drums P4 kit, and basically with metal, if you can find that perfect spot with your bass guitar and your kick drum, your kick's gonna fucking smash. And I don't know, I always cut out a lot of the excess low end of my kick, so I'll cut out like from 30 hertz and below, and then I'll also do a pretty sharp cut around 200 because I always boost around 200 in my snare. And then I cut a lot of mids in my kick drum, like 400 to 600. I cut a lot of mids right there, and then I compress at a pretty slow attack and a pretty fast release. And I don't know, it always just ends up working. In my bass guitar, I'll usually high pass around 55 hertz because the low end of my kick is hitting at 50 hertz, and I'll boost low end of 50 in my kick, and there's no low end at 50 in my bass guitar, so they're not like conflicting with each other.
Okay. All right. Yeah, dude, that's the one thing that freaking pops out of those mixes, man. It doesn't sound too it doesn't sound too fucking like deathcore or like a pop, you know what I mean? But it doesn't sound too over processed.
A lot of deathcore records, because the kicks are so fast, they'll put the low end of the kick above the bass, so the low end of the kick will be hitting around like 65 hertz, but I keep the low end of my kick at 50 hertz, so it's a little bit lower than a lot of people will do. And I don't know, it just it gives the bass a little bit more fucking balls. Beef. Yeah.
Right on. So my last question here is, what are some like simple tips on how to market your band on social media while not overwhelming your followers with content? Like, I see a lot of bands doing like the same methods that aren't working.
Yeah. With Bodysnatcher, we've been very fortunate. Like, we have very good interaction, and but I think a lot of that honestly has to do with the type of people that we are when we're on tour. And like when we're at shows, we talk to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, everyone comes up to us, and we all try and, like, you know, hang out for a few seconds with any person that tries to say what's up. You know, so I feel like that makes people interact with your posts way more than people realize. And on top of that, you have to have interactive posts. You have to have a post that's not like, hey, look at me, look at what we did. It's got to be a post like, hey, what do you guys like? You tell us, you know, like it has to be a post asking for people to interact.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's the one thing that needs to be done. I mean, even with this podcast, like I did like a giveaway, and like I saw fucking a whole bunch of people react, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where are you been?
Yeah. There's also, I mean, a lot of people dog it, but Facebook ads, if you know how to run them correctly, you can benefit from them a lot. And you can, because you can set it up to where you can narrow down your ad to, like, you know, 100,000 people. Like if I were to run an ad, it would be like, hey, do you like this genre of music? Blah blah blah. There'd be a 30-second video, and then you narrow it down to where, like, if it was Bodysnatcher, I would pick bands that, you know, if people haven't heard of us but have heard of these other bands, I know they're gonna like my band. You know what I mean? So, like, pick bands like the Acacia Strain, Amir, Whitechapel, Dyer's Murder, stuff like that, and then you can narrow that down even farther. So, like, you can show it to people that don't like your page, like people that have never liked your page, never seen your page. Narrow it down to people that only like these bands. Narrow it down even farther to people that only like these bands, and then it's going to show to only people that are most likely going to have an interest in what you're advertising.
Right. I've been tempted to do that with this because, like, you know, I get
it works very well, and you can do the same thing with Spotify. I don't know if this is on Spotify.
I put this on Spotify.
You can do the same exact thing. There's a lot of people that work for Spotify. I've never done the Spotify thing, but I've been looking into it, and there's a lot of, like, the same type of algorithms, I guess, as the Facebook ads that you can do for Spotify to get your monthly listeners, just to get it in front of more people.
Right. Now, do you think say I remember doing this fucking like a couple of years ago. I just spent like, it was like $40 on advertising. And then, you know, it worked with one post, and then it fucking went downhill. Do you think it'd be more beneficial to do a constant, like, I don't know, like $20 a month instead of like just dropping it all at once?
See, with Facebook, it sucks, but when you're doing small amounts of money, it doesn't work as well. So it's better to do like a 3-month type thing or a 2-month type thing and put like a couple $100 on it, you know, but do it on, instead of doing it for every single post, make an ad that is just one post that's going to continuously show to people. But if it shows to somebody, and they like your page, or they like or they interact with what you're trying to get them to interact with, it won't show to them again once they've interacted with it.
Okay. Now that's something new. Well, I'm asking you this because I see these sponsorships, right?
Yeah.
Like, for an example, I get an ad for like a fucking pop punk band, and I don't listen to pop punk.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I just scroll past it.
See, and
it just keeps showing up.
Yep,
it just
and
keeps fucking showing up.
That's their fault for not narrowing down their audience more, because now now their advertisement is showing to people like you know what I mean, or other people that they wouldn't like, you know what I mean. And
Right.
yeah, that's why narrowing it down is such an important thing, because you don't want it to show to somebody that might not be interested in it, you know.